The jobs report for September will be released in just about 30 minutes. Economists expect the United States added only about 60,000 jobs. Unemployment in this country has really been a thorn in the president's side ever since he took office. And yesterday, a defiant President Obama promised to keep pressing Congress to pass his jobs bill, even though its prospects look pretty bleak.
We will just keep on going at it and hammering away until something gets done. And I would love nothing more than to see Congress act so aggressively that I can't campaign against them as a do-nothing Congress.
The $447 billion bill is due for a vote in the Senate next week. President Obama also insisting that any senator who's thinking about voting against his jobs bill needs to explain why. Well, joining me now is Republican Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming. Good morning, Senator.
Thanks for having me on American Morning, Carol.
Oh, thank you for being here. So you heard the president yesterday. He said Republicans have to explain themselves. But in your mind, have Republicans already done that?
Well, absolutely. And you know, there are a lot of Democrats who don't support the president's proposal either. We asked for a vote on the Senate floor twice this week, and Harry Reid, the Democrat leader of the Senate, blocked the vote on the president's own jobs bill. So the president's out there saying, vote for it, and the Democrats in the Senate don't want a vote because they don't want to have to support it. They realize this is just stimulus 2. The first stimulus failed. The president promised if you passed that stimulus that the unemployment rate would stay below 8. Instead, it went to over 10. We still have 14 million Americans looking for work. This is not the way to get the economy going.
Senator, if I may interrupt, we still have no action in Congress, and that really frustrates many Americans. And let me just run this by you, because yesterday, you know, we all talk about this is not the time for political gamesmanship, and we all say that. But last night, when Democrats were trying to pass this China currency bill, Republicans wanted to add an unrelated amendment on the president's jobs bill. And of course, Democrats blocked that by establishing new rules. And that set off this tizzy in the chamber. I mean, isn't this exactly the kind of gamesmanship the president was talking about?
Well, they blocked 2 amendments that I wanted to bring. One that said that we ought to not export jobs, cement jobs, construction jobs, to China. They blocked that. It was completely irrelevant. Another one that I wanted to do was to have a jobs impact statement on all pieces of legislation, just like we have environmental impact statements.
But the real reason behind this wasn't
that as well.
But the real reason behind it was to kind of debate the president's jobs bill right on the spot. So it kind of like threw a wrench into the China currency bill, which actually has some bipartisan support.
The president said, pass my jobs bill now. He said it every stop along his trip, along the way. Every time the Republicans try to bring his jobs bill up for a vote, the Democrats block it. They don't want to vote for this either. The president said, explain it. I'd invite the president to come to my home state of Wyoming, where I can explain it to him and to my constituents. And you know, the Democrat senator from the state north of Wyoming, Montana, John Tester, he has opposed it as well. There is bipartisan opposition to the president's plan of borrowing and spending and over-regulating and threatening tax increases. That's not a way to get the economy going. I want to make it easier and cheaper for the private sector to create jobs, and the president continues to find ways to make it harder and more expensive for the private sector to create jobs.
Senator, you are right. Democrats do not like the way the president wants to pay for his plan. There's some dissent among the ranks of Democrats as well. I wanted to ask you about these Wall Street protests. They've spread nationwide now. Thousands of people are participating. What do you make of that?
Well, it sounds like many of them are being paid by unions to do that, to foment disorder out there. We need to get people back to work. Fundamentally, that's what we need to do. The president's ignored the jobs market for the last 2.5 years. I'm glad he's starting to pay attention to jobs.
So you think most of these people, you agree with Herman Cain, the presidential candidate, who said he believes that these protests were orchestrated, and he also believes that these people should not complain about not getting a job. They should go out and find one. Let's listen to a bit of Herman Cain, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
If you are envious of somebody that happens to be rich, that you call a fat cat, go and get rich instead of expecting them to walk outside of their office and write you a check That's not the way America works. Work for it.
Does Mr. Kaine have a point, Senator?
Well, we're a nation of equal opportunity, not guaranteed results, and I want to do things to provide more opportunities for all Americans. And when the president's plan takes away those opportunities, I don't think that's helpful. I have a whole jobs program that I've introduced with a number of different Western senators, a jobs opportunity plan for red, white, and blue American jobs. It's 20 pages, and you can go to that, and I would suggest that the president do that as well. This is the way to get so many Americans
back to the
to work.
Protesters and why they're protesting, Senator, do you think they have a legitimate frustration?
Well, I think there are a lot of people in this country that are very frustrated because they can't find work, and a lot of it has to do with the policies coming out of this administration. The president inherited a bad situation, and his policies have made it worse.
But I guess I just want... Herman Cain, and you just said that you believe that unions are behind these protests, but the unions really didn't get involved until weeks later. And, a lot of people are now co-opting this group, and it's growing. But at some point, it was organic, and the anger was directed at Wall Street. Do you think that the anger is directed in the right place?
I think people want to work. We have many people around the country that cannot find a job. And the policies that make it harder and more expensive for the private sector to create jobs is what's keeping people out of work. We need to make it easier and cheaper for the private sector to create jobs so we have more people working. That will raise the tax revenue coming in to the country and will help us deal with our deficit and our debt.
Thank you, Senator, for being with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Carol.